This is really a simple trick, okay? Really a simple trick. It deals with the 4 aces. We got the ace of diamonds, we got the ace of spades, we've got the ace of hearts, and the last one is the ace of clubs. Here we go. So now I'm going to take 3 cards. We'll put it on the ace of diamonds. We'll take 3 cards, put on the ace of spades, 3 on the ace of hearts, and 3 on the ace of clubs. All right? Now, here's what we're going to do. The ace of diamonds, that's the leader ace. We're going to put that right there. And we're not going to touch it again. Here we go. Now, if any of you guys have ever seen me do a trick before, no, none of you guys have ever seen me do a trick before, but here we go. I take cards and I count them. 1, 2, 3, 4. But then if I twist them, the ace turns face down. Just like that. This trick goes just a little bit farther than that, and it disappears. Here we go. We'll try that one again. Here we go. We got the ace of hearts now. Here we go. We got 1, 2, 3. And it's gone. And here's the last one, and this one is definitely my favorite. Watch, I'll take the ace of clubs, I'll turn it down. If I rub that there, it is gone. The 3 aces have left my piles, and you know those have been sitting there from the beginning. They haven't left your sight. Underneath these cards, you have the ace of spades, the ace of clubs, the ace of hearts, and the ace of diamonds. All right, guys, hey, that's all. Enjoy your church service. You guys have a great day. We'll see you next time.
And welcome everybody to Revolution Live. We are so glad that you are here tonight. I apologize to all of my leaders that I forgot to send the link to. I got a couple.
Oh.
Yeah, that's totally my fault. I didn't mean to do that, but I did it anyway. Sophia, how are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Doing good. Has every day felt like the same day or a different day?
I feel like time is just not real right now.
That's good. That's good. I've been hearing like really good stuff lately from people. That's one. Time's not real right now. Like good like T-shirt slogans. I was on a call with a parent yesterday. They were like, every day is the same, but every day is different.
Yeah.
Like,
yeah.
There's no time. Yeah. What time do you go to bed every night?
Like 2, 3 a.m. I'm not good. My brain like naturally it just is like, okay, 3 a.m. is the time that you go to bed. 10 a.m. is the time you wake
but
up.
that's like your school schedule now.
Yeah.
But then you have to go to adult schedule starting next week.
Yeah.
Yes. If you guys didn't know that, tomorrow is Sophia's last day of school, and then she'll be joining us like all the time, which is like great now. So we're excited about that. And so we are excited that you are here tonight, everybody. We hope you guys are hanging out. You had a good day at school. Some of you might have gotten done at 11, and then you've just been playing Fortnite all day. We hope that the leaders tuning in, that everybody had a great day as well. I know I did because I oscillated between my son's science work and me actually having to prepare for tonight. So,
yeah.
Do you have any animals in your house right now that you have to take care of?
We just have a cat, so.
What's the cat's name?
Allie. So.
It's a good name for a cat. I feel
know.
like I've heard that name. What kind of cat are they?
I mean, she's
A cat?
just a black cat.
That works.
Yeah.
Do you like this cat?
Oh, she's great. She doesn't like us being home all the time, but she's great. She's nice most of the time.
Yeah, I guess we're messing up their schedules too. But anyway, hey, we are excited to be with you guys tonight. We're going to run through a couple quick announcements, which apparently I forgot to do with the middle school students. So if you have any siblings in your house that are also in middle school, tell them to come back to the screen real quick because I forgot to tell them about some things that are going to happen next week. But as always, there is the @Nccsm. If you're not following us on Instagram, that's the place to go. I'm not going to spoil the surprise, but we got some really cool things coming up next week. Every day, starting Monday, then Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday, that you guys are going to want to tune in for. Some of you know exactly what I'm talking about because I've asked some of you to help with that, but it's going to be really awesome. But you've been doing your devotionals, which people have loved. You've been cranking those out like they're nothing. Would you just sit at home and be like, here, I have like brilliance that I want to throw on this computer?
I mean, I set aside like 3 hours and I write stuff down, figure out some songs to go with it, and
Good. Songs are good too. Well, some of them I actually haven't heard before.
I tried to do that. I really
Yeah.
was like, I feel
Which,
like there's
by the
so
way,
many
if you can do
songs.
that with me, that's actually really good because I'm pretty deep when it comes to like that, musical stuff. But yeah, you do great. So we got those things. We have something that we really, really, really want your help with. Okay, so this is what it is. So we're going to be doing a student survey that's going to go out tonight at 8:30 on Instagram. There'll be a link in the bio. Pretty much like, Sophia and I, we want to like do the best that we possibly can for you guys. And if what we're doing like sucks, we don't want to do that, right? And so here's going to be your chance to kind of like tell us how you're doing, but also like how we're doing. All right.
Yes.
And so tonight on Instagram, we're going to post this in the link. I'll post the thing as well. And if you guys go ahead and can fill that out, I literally think it'll take you 90 seconds to do. Yeah, I think it's like 6 questions. Most of them are like check a box. So 90 questions is all, or 90, not 90 questions, 90 seconds for like 6 questions. It'll be pretty simple. So if you guys could do that, that would really, really help us out. So if you're a middle school kid who missed that last time around, please tell a middle school kid, or if they're in the room, just, now that you've seen this, go on Instagram tonight and do that. The next one is next week's. Now, I'm just going to give it out now that this is going to be next week's weekly challenge, all right? So the April Say So, during this time, God has taught me blank. And what we want you guys to do is do a selfie Say So weekly challenge where you guys are going to be doing this. And you know what? And it might be weird and awkward and all those sorts of things, but I think this would be really good for other people to see other people's faces and to be encouraged by what their peers have to say about what they're learning in this time. So we'll have leaders do this as well. It'll be a great thing for everybody. So if you're a middle school student, high school student, we really want you guys to participate in this because it'll be encouraging for us all. And so tonight we're going to move into the weekly challenge, which the weekly challenge was, what was the weekly challenge, Sophia?
It was to do something nice for people.
Yes. So I liked your thing on Instagram. We were like, yeah, you weren't just like scaring everybody the last couple weeks.
Yeah, I felt like your parents probably needed like some sort of like, oh, we're gonna do something nice for you. So I was like,
instead of giving them a heart attack because you scared them, give them a heart attack because you're doing something around your house. Would that be fair?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, exactly.
All right. So we got a couple that have sent in, which by the way, they're gonna double up tonight. We got enough that we don't need to triple anything for here for high school. But we have enough. We'll double up a prize for anybody who sent this in. So we have one picture. This was sent in by Sarah Anderson. You can see that Kyle is clearly playing Xbox, and he I guess maybe asked her for a milkshake or a smoothie, and Sarah brought. Does that look like a chocolate smoothie?
Yeah, there's like chocolate chips, maybe strawberry and chocolate chip smoothie.
Oh wait, is that what I see at the bottom? Is that red at the bottom?
Or yeah,
it looks a little red, or it's just this TV screen's not that great.
Yeah, I'm gonna say it's either red or like chocolate syrup.
And Kyle looks very happy about receiving this. So
yes.
way to go, Sarah. Way to do good in this situation. Now these next 3, they're all basically the same video. They all came in the same 30-minute time frame, and they were all sent in by people with the first name beginning with E, and they're all girls. Now. You can kind of tell that they talk to each other, and I'll just show you how I know that. Let's start off with this first one from Elise. Giving her mom a high five. Okay, this next one is Emma. I feel like we could make a beat out of this.
Yeah, it sounds very like
yeah. Yeah, one time. Okay, now this last one is from Eliza. This last one's from Eliza. This is okay. This works. I guess I'll let it work. Giving the high five. Do you feel like should we accept that? That was a nice thing that they did.
Yes. I feel like it's nice enough where you're like, sure.
How about this? If Sarah gets it, it's triple.
Okay, yes.
Okay, if Sarah wins the challenge tonight, it's triple. But if Elise, Eliza, and Emma win, it's just gonna be double. All right. So we actually had other things that we were going to show. So we had some other good news things that we were going to put in front of you. We want to encourage you guys because we think this is good for us. So this first one is a nice good news story coming in. It says customer leaves entire $1,200 stimulus check as generous tip for the family-owned restaurant, right? So look at that, like straight up cash in that woman's hand.
She's got a lot of money now.
She's got a lot of money. That's really nice that they would do that. Very, very generous, right? Generous heart. You can't ever go wrong here. There's another generous story, but this time from a teenager, not someone who's still a dependent, right? So that last one, they couldn't be a teenager and do it because they were still dependent. All right, 17-year-old Angel cashier. So woman working at this grocery store, noticed the guy was short, had the 173, and was able to help out this person. So really nice. This next one, I hope maybe some of these ideas spark some stuff for you guys, but this one, teens launch hotline for isolated seniors to listen to pre-recorded jokes, stories, and messages of hope. I really, I mean, look how happy that guy is.
Yeah, I don't know if that's a stock photo.
Oh, it definitely is a stock photo.
Yes.
But look how happy that guy is. Look, this joke and message of hope, which was in the same thing, really stood out to him. And then this last one's interesting. This is a little girl who figured out a way to like put together like a cartoon to like do like COVID-19 coping skills, and so she's trying to like help people out who are her age with this particular thing. So we want to thank you guys for all the ones that you've sent in. It's kind of a big deal because well, it's a big deal because no one else was sending them in.
Yeah.
So we're happy for the 4 that we got, but they'll be happy tonight if they win. So here's what we're going to do. All right, high school, you got to pay very, very close attention to this. Tonight's game is pretty simple, but it can be difficult. All right, I will kind of go through what it is that you guys will have to do. All right, so here's the rules. That you have to have a selfie. You're going to do a selfie. Must have the following 4 items in the same photo. All right, so I'm going to show you a list of the items that you have to go and have in this particular selfie photo, which, by the way, of the 4, it will include you. And you have to have all 4 of those in the same photo, and then you have to send that photo to me. All right, and so if you have all 4 of these in the same photo, including yourself, and you're the first one to get that in, you will get tonight to spin the wheel of destiny.
Destiny.
There we go. All right, so have your phones ready. Make sure you guys are ready, especially if you're Sarah Anderson. All right, here we go. So this is what you're going to need. You're going to run through your house, and you have to take a selfie with all 4 of these things present in the photo, and then send that photo to me. Do you understand? And here we go. We need you, a gallon of milk, a book, and a parent. So if for some odd reason your parent is traveling this week, which is weird.
Should not happen right
This
now.
should not happen, but there you go. I will wait patiently for this to come in. You, a gallon of milk, a book, and a parent. Let's see if they can get it in, all right?
This would really stink if your entire family was lactose intolerant, and so you just don't have milk.
Well, you know what? I would even accept soy milk or almond milk. I have almond milk.
Almond milk's not bad.
You know what? I hated it at first. I have to do unsweetened. I can't do the sweetened. Yeah, so I started doing all of the I started doing almond milk, and I hated it at first, and I tweaked it up, and then I kind of get used to it. Oh, fun fact, did you know that almond milk doesn't penetrate an Oreo cookie?
Oh.
Like if you stick it in there for as long as you possibly can,
That kind of stinks.
yes. So when I like made the transition, I was like, well, Oreos are like my favorite thing, and I couldn't do it. Okay, all right, here we go. We got them. They're flying in. They are flying in. See. Oh, by the way, I think I might post these to Instagram at some point.
Oh, yes.
What do you
for
think
sure.
about that?
I think
Okay.
that's a great idea.
All right, let's see what we got. Maybe I should have made it. There seems to be a sibling thing happening here too. So let's see them. There we go. Okay. Here we go. Emma sent one in. Her parents are out for a walk, and so she just said that's a good one. That's a good one. Okay. All right. So here's what we'll do. I'll let them both win for this one.
Okay.
It's the winners for the second week in a row is members of the Milliken family. So we love that you're committed to this. And so both Reed and Rig, they're in the same photo with Mark and a gallon of milk and a book. I'm trying to see what book it is. I can't tell. It looks like it might be about fishing. And so, all right, Reed and Rig, you guys will get a shot at the Wheel of Destiny. But here's the deal. You can only get whatever it is. You guys have to split it, all right? I'm not sending you individual ones, all right? So we're going to turn it over to the Wheel of Destiny.
Destiny.
And sometimes people say that, too, on here. Okay, let's see. Oh, my gosh. Sarah Anderson also said her parents are out for a walk. All right, so let's spin the Wheel of Destiny. What a terrible time to go for a walk. You can yell at your parents later. Let's see what the Rig and Reed have to split. Oh, my gosh, it's going to be another box of candy for them. Oh, my goodness. All right, well, Reed and Rig, I will send your house yet again another box of candy. And if you would have sent in a weekly challenge, you would have had double. So you each would have probably had your own. So we are so glad that you guys are here with us tonight. And what we want to do is we're going to transition now. What we're going to have is just a quick little video for you guys, and then Sophia is going to come up and talk to you guys tonight. So we're glad you guys are here.
All right, hi guys, I'm so excited to be here tonight. So today we're going to be talking about isolation or loneliness or depression. So while I was preparing for this talk, I like to have stuff in the background while I'm working, not music, because for some reason when I listen to music, my mind focuses on that instead of what I'm doing. But I usually have like a YouTube video or the news probably on in the background at like a low volume. And so I had YouTube on, and I'm just typing, and it keeps like just going to the next video. And when you're on YouTube and you just keep going on YouTube videos until you're like deep in YouTube? So that happened. And I found this video, and it was by this guy who was doing like a documentary about this guy, Xavier Rosette. And it was 300 days alone in the wilderness. So Xavier, he was this guy who's like an adventurous type person, and he goes to this island, like completely secluded from everyone. And he goes there, he spends 300 days, which if you guys can do the math on that, it's about 10 months. He has 10 months in this island talking to no one. And when he gets there, he kind of has to do what you do on Survivor, which is find food, water, shelter. And so he does all that, and within the first couple days, he's fine. Like, he figures that out pretty quickly. And he had everything he needed physically, but he felt empty because of the lack of human contact. He was on this beautiful island, but completely alone. And so a couple weeks go by, and he starts to feel no motivation to do anything. And he stopped trying to survive. He had to physically force himself to get up each day and go find food, which is usually fish. But he stopped wanting to do those things because he lost his purpose because he was alone. He was like, I don't see a point if I'm alone. And so he was physically alone, but he was also mentally alone. So a person in the Bible who I think also exemplifies being alone is Job. So he had everything. You guys know Job. He had everything. He had wife, kids, servants, lots of land. God provided for him. And then one day, he loses everything. I think a lot of seniors and all of you guys in high school actually can relate to this. You guys were on top of the world. You had your graduation, You had prom, you had dances, you had musicals, you had sports teams that you were a part of. You had all that you could ever want, sort of. And then you lost it because the coronavirus happened, and now you guys are stuck at home. So Job wasn't physically alone because he had his friends with him, but his family had died and he had lost everything, and his friends weren't on his side, so he felt mentally alone. And he felt abandoned by God, and he felt angry at God. And personally, I related to this when I was in high school. I remember reading through the book of Job in high school and being like, I get that, because my 10th grade year, I went through this really bad bout of depression and anxiety because a lot of things had gone wrong in my life. I lost a couple friends, through fighting, which happens. And I remember that when I was in this stage of my life, and I remember reading Job and being like, I relate to this guy. In Job 30, verses 16 through 23, it says, and he's talking to his friends and talking to God, and he says, "And now my life ebbs away. Days of suffering grip me. Night pierces my bones. My gnawing pains never rest. In his great power, God becomes like clothing to me. He binds me like the neck of my garment. He throws me into the mud, and I am now reduced to dust and ashes. I cry out to you, God, but you do not answer me. I stand up, but you merely look at me. You turn on me ruthlessly. With the might of your hand, you attack me. You snatch me up and drive me before the wind. You toss me about in the storm. I know you will bring me down to death, to the place appointed for all the living." So, pretty dark. Job's not in a good place mentally, and he's so upset with God. And eventually God, rebukes him. But in this moment, he's so upset. He felt abandoned by his friends, he felt abandoned by God, and he was alone. So, isolation, there are two types. There's mental isolation, which is what Job is experiencing, which I'm sure a lot of you guys are experiencing, and then physical isolation, which is what Xavier Rosette, the guy who spent 300 days on an island, experienced. And I think you guys are experiencing both of those things, because you're physically away from all of your friends, and you're physically away from, your community, while you're still surrounded by family, but you also are mentally alone right now because a lot of you guys are in your own headspace. We might be surrounded by family, but we don't have a whole lot of community outside of that. No matter how much you love your family, I'm sure a lot of you guys have gotten into fights with your family over the past couple weeks. So one thing about isolation is that it can lead to depression. And depression shows itself in plenty of different ways, and there are different types of depression too. So yes, you can be sad, you can be mopey, you can cry all the time, but you can also be really, really angry. You can be irritable and have mood swings and have no motivation. Those are all different things that happen with depression. I think a lot of people, when they think of depression, think of sadness, but that's not all it is. And depression can arise out of anxiety. So I'm sure a lot of you guys are feeling anxious about your futures and just anxious about, when am I going to get out of the house? And that might lead to this depression. God created us to be in community with each other, so it's normal to feel lost, and it's normal to feel upset because you can't socialize with the people you love. God gives us tools in this, though, because he says, "I will never leave you nor forsake you." So what are these tools? I'm just going to go through a few, because if I went through all of them, we'd be here all night. But one of them, the first one I'm going to mention, is prayer. And I know you guys probably are hearing me say, oh, God gives us prayer. In that, I'm saying, turn to God before anything else. And I'm not saying hide your feelings from other people and just go to God and don't go to anyone else. Because I think a lot of times we as Christians can fall into that trap of, oh, God will just fix it. And he will, but sometimes he uses other people to do that. I'll get into that in a second. But I'm not saying that. I'm saying pray to God first and then speak to others about it. Because prayer is for us. It's allowing us to communicate with God. Even Job, when he started to feel doubt, he talked to God. Granted, he was really, really upset, and obviously there was some tension there, but he talked to God first. Next thing I'm going to say is talk to someone else. As someone who's dealt with depression and loneliness, my first instinct is always to push people away. It's always to be oh, I'm fine, I can deal with it myself, and I internalize it. But that's not how you get better. Talk to your friends, talk to a trusted adult, talk to anyone. Surround yourself with people as much as you can right now. And talk to people, because God gives us this community so that we can be surrounded by his love. Another idea is that you can journal your thoughts. So one of the things that happens when you have depression, or you start to feel depressed, is that you start to think irrationally. That's one of the side effects. So when you start to feel depressed or anxious, write down what you're feeling and why you feel that way. So be like, I'm just going to use a random example. Be like, oh, I'm depressed because my prom was canceled. And try to think through rationally why you feel that way, why you feel isolated, why you feel alone, and then process through a solution to that. Process through why it's not such a bad thing and why God is here for you in that. And the last solution / the last tool that I'm going to give you guys is talk to a therapist or talk to a doctor. I know a lot of people see therapy as like this big, scary thing, but I'm telling you, as an adult, like there are plenty of adults who are perfectly normal and go to therapy anyways. And therapy shouldn't be seen as a last resort. And I want to say this before I recap anything. Just because you're lonely, depressed, or isolated does not mean that you are more broken or less than anyone else. And your depression is not your fault. It's something that happens to everyone, and it's inevitable when you're isolated. But I want you guys to be able to have tools to deal with this. All right, so just to recap, I'm going to throw up a slide here. So, isolation can lead to feeling abandoned. It can lead to feelings of depression. And depression and loneliness can present in ways other than just being sad. And then lastly, God gives us tools to deal with isolation. I want you guys to remember this as you go into your small groups because this is going to be important. Those tools that I mentioned, prayer, talking to someone, journaling your thoughts, going to a therapist. You can think through other tools on your own, but those are just a few of them. But I want you guys to remember this as you go into your small groups and as you go into your weeks in general. So again, God created us to be in community. When that community goes away, it's normal to feel depressed and angry, but God is always with us. He will never leave us nor forsake us, and so he gives us tools to deal with our depression, our loneliness, so that even when we may be physically or mentally alone, we place our trust in him. I'm going to pray, and then you guys can go off to your small groups. Dear God, I just thank you for giving us tools to deal with being alone. I know that this time is hard for a lot of different people, and people may see this as a time where they're just irritated and angry all of the time. And they may not see that as a symptom of depression, but God, I pray that you would show them that there's light at the end of the tunnel. God, I pray that you would allow them to use these tools in their day-to-day life. And I pray that they would know that just because they're depressed or just because they're lonely or just because they're angry does not mean that they are broken. Well, in that respect. God, I thank you for everything you've given us. In Jesus' name, amen. All right, guys. Head off to small groups.